Hi, today is Monday, July 13th, 2020. This is the Kubernetes CSI implementation meeting. So I guess our main topic for today is 119. We had code freeze last Thursday. I believe most of what we were doing got in, so that's great. Great work, everyone. Next up in our deadlines is this upcoming Thursday. This is when the Kubernetes documentation is due for all the 119 features. So let's just go down the list of features that we have. Let's see. This did not make it in, so I think we will have to target this for 120 or potentially a bug fix. And so we'll see how that goes. I have some outstanding cleanup issue PRs in external provisioner. I'll be pinging the reviewers for review this week. Next up, Patrick.
Yeah, I do have updated the docs PRs. I have 2 of them now. I used to have them in one, but then split them up because storage capacity tracking basically can be documented independently. There are some cross-references, so that first one is referenced in the second, but not vice versa. So I got some useful feedback from Tim and Jan already. I think we are closer to actually have something ready for merging. What I now need is a final sign-off from a technical reviewer. I think that would be Michelle or Jan. Some look goods to me. I guess it's expected now. And then Tim, as the doc expert, will looks good to me. And then finally, once all of that is in place, I'll get approval from the docs team.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'll try to find some time to do a pass today.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be merged by Thursday? The doc is it just reviewed, or does it has to be merged by Thursday?
I think it's merged by Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to add that I'll go on vacation starting Wednesday, so my deadline is a little bit earlier. I probably will still have my laptop with me, and I can do last-minute editing and so on, and also respond to any urgent issues. But overall, expect me to be away throughout the rest of this month.
Okay. And do you expect the external provisioner changes to be able to make it, or do we need to defer that to the next release?
That depends a bit on, well, when do we do the external provisioner release? I can update that one tomorrow. I think I have the tags in Kubernetes and in external snapshot that I need to do a cleaner PR. I can also update the documentation. I think that's currently missing. Whether it's then ready, well, perhaps. I think Jan was looking at it already, and I do not remember whether I addressed all comments or what's still missing. But I can get back to it tomorrow, and then it might be ready, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. If it doesn't make this upcoming release cut, we can get it in for the next one, and we can make an earlier release if we need to.
I think it certainly makes sense to get it into the next major version of the external provision. The question just is if when we want to have that ready. Do you have a timeline in mind already?
I think we want to try to release our sidecars soon along with the Kubernetes release as well.
And that will be.
But I mean, we can
when?
be flexible.
Yeah.
That might, let's see, what is the?
Because I think Kubernetes itself still needs quite a bit more time.
Not a whole lot.
Okay.
End of August, right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what I thought. So I'll be
okay.
I'll definitely be back in August to finish the external provisioner.
Okay, then I think that's no problem at all. For some reason, I thought usually they try to actually release like 2 weeks after code freeze, but looks like this time they're giving like a whole month, more than a month. So, yeah. All right. That's fine. Okay, and then ephemeral volumes.
Yeah, it also has a pending doc PR. I've not tried to address this one usability issue. I think we can just defer that.
That's fine.
And the customize thing, I have a patch. I just need to create a PR. Actually, no, customize is external. Yeah, I wonder how to get that into kubectl then.
Customize or kubectl imports customize as a plugin, I thought.
Yeah, but not amending. I think you still need to build in the code. So that would be a patch for customize. And then that updated source code needs to be imported into Kubernetes. Oh, it might be wrong. I don't know. I think it's self-contained, so it pretty much needs to be built in.
It might be that kubectl needs to update its customized dependency whenever customize does another release.
That's what I also think. And I'm not sure when Customize plans to do a formal release. Anyway, I'll submit it against Customize, and eventually it will land in kubectl.
Yeah, and I think also it would be good to figure out like how Customize works with like alpha fields and such.
It doesn't. Well, yeah. Well, the patch itself just needs to add a table, basically saying this field here needs labels. So it's a few lines of change, and I think it can kubectl customize doesn't need to care whether that's then an alpha field or not, because it just basically does the pre-processing. So, and if a field somehow changes, the table is still okay, but it just never will be any input file, or shouldn't be any input file that uses it. But yeah, I can point out that this field is kind of tentative in an alpha field.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. All right. Next up, I think, is the save volume data. I believe this one also missed 119.
Yeah, so
we can try to get this in as a bug fix potentially.
okay. I will try to get that in as a bug fix. The PR author has abandoned the PR.
Okay. Or they abandoned, or they're just not responding.
I mean, yeah, they're not responding. But
Okay.
I think the comment that I have is legitimate. So yeah.
Okay. Let's try to get this in as a bug fix, I think. All right. Next up is image publishing. So this was just waiting on the vanity flip. I believe they're going to try to do the vanity flip today. I forget if an email was sent out.
There was some, but I think there was some back and forth where it should be delayed because apparently some update is pending. I think my conclusion was that unless someone speaks up, it will happen today, but we'll see.
Okay. I guess it was potentially proposed to be today, but maybe might be delayed to next week. Sounds like. All right. We are very close.
So we are basically waiting for this step before we can publish image to this new place?
No, we can publish images to the new place, but we don't want to change our tests to use the new place yet until we have the new name, the right name.
Okay. So now,
so the images are actually already like published to the new repo.
okay.
It's just we want to have a vanity domain in front of it, and they haven't flipped it over yet.
Okay.
All right. I will skip over beta. I'm not actually sure how much progress was made here and when they'll be ready for a beta cut, but it's all out of tree anyway. So I guess since we have till end of August, probably be able to make some progress on this. Next up is volume health.
Yeah, so unit test is in progress. I was expecting to see a PR by the end of last week, but I think it has not happened yet. But I did get some questions from the guy working on it, so I know he's working on it.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much. And snapshots.
So I did cut a RC build. So Patrick, if you need to use it, you can use that RC build.
Yeah, thanks. I just saw that you tagged it last week. I
Okay.
think, or but it is tagged. I've seen that now.
Okay, and I think we are still waiting for. I'm still waiting for this this Go package thing. I think Kartik had made some progress, so I see his new PR actually. He did remove that V2 path from the actual code path, and it's only in the Go.mod. But I think we have some test failures. So like if I do a make test, that would fail. So still trying to figure out what's going on. But I think we're making some progress in there. And also Shanchen, yeah.
Oh, well, I have a question about snapshots.
Okay.
Did I hear correctly that you plan to have RC soon-ish? And when it's going to be the final release for 119? Do you want to?
So like to see if we can get this one in, this move APIs and generate client before we cut the release. Are you waiting? I know you said you're not urgent, so well, waiting for this this move APIs and generate client. I said if this one get in, then we can cut official release. So that's the plan.
I want the snapshot controller that's going to be shipped with Kubernetes 119 to be cut, to be released at the Kubernetes 119 release, because as everything slipped upstream, unfortunately for me, it didn't slip. It slipped too much. So my release should be like, yeah, actually. Oh,
which is you? I'm sorry. What is your release?
OpenShift. I'm interested in OpenShift.
Okay.
And
okay.
Well, so, actually, what I need is when we release Kubernetes 119, that in the same week we can get the snapshot controller.
So basically, you just want the image, right, to be used by the provisioner or by
no, the controller. The controller. The part that
you need the
needs
controller.
To be...
Oh, okay. But right now we are dependent on 1.18. Is that good enough? Because we're not really, dependencies right now is on 1.18, right? Is that okay?
Yeah, I know, but the snapshot controller is part of Kubernetes distribution, right?
Yeah.
And like it should be released, like all the bug fixes and so on, and the recent developments. It should be released with Kubernetes.
Okay, so
at least the controller.
Controller, you think controller needs to be released first? Oh, that's actually the opposite what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know.
API, no, usually API goes first. Otherwise, what's the use of the new APIs?
Yeah, of course. I need also the API, of course.
Yeah. So we can release. I think it's fine. We can, when this move API thing is out, we can cut another one. I think that's okay. You think makes sense, Michelle? We can actually.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Jan. So like 119 isn't going to be released until August 25th, right? So
yeah, sure. So there is still plenty of time.
Okay. If we can release, I'm pretty sure we can release the new snapshot or stuff by August 25th, especially because this API thing is the last thing.
Maybe a generic question: should we follow, at least with the snapshot controller, the Kubernetes release is closer? I know the sidecars, they are part of
you also need to package the CRDs, right? I mean, why only the controller? You also need to package the CRDs.
Everything that should be part of the Kubernetes distro, you need at the same time, like at the Kubernetes release.
Right. So you can package them together, right? So
I guess the main challenge is that we're trying to separate we're trying to separate the client stuff from the controller stuff, but actually we're including the API as part of the client stuff, right? So
yeah, API and client together, and the controller is separate. Yeah.
so actually the way that the Go modules work in the repo is it's not separating sidecar and controller, it's separating API and clients from everything else.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So like, I don't know, do you think it would be worth it to try to have like, to try to separate, I don't know,
Sidecar, but
like,
sidecar is a really small thing. I mean, it's not really. I don't see much significance there. I mean, we could do that. It's just like
I don't really care too much in what repositories everything is. My ultimate goal is when Kubernetes 119 goes out, then the part that is part of Kubernetes distribution, that means the controller and the API, is released too. So
okay.
Kubernetes
So
can be actually used.
So I think
Otherwise,
yeah. So I think that's different from Michelle's concern. Is I think she wants to use some kind of set of sidecar as well. But I think Michelle, I think sidecar it's another thing. We can even we can figure out this first part, then we can separate. I think that's fine. But I mean, right now I don't think that's that important.
Like, I wonder if we want to actually have 3 Go modules here.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I would just think I don't want to add another complexity on this work that Kotick has been doing. I mean, I just think the sidecar is really tiny. It's not. I mean, I don't see that as causing that much. We can add it.
It's okay
if we can figure out this too. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not against. Yeah.
I think it's okay if they are part of the same repository for now. Maybe sometime in the future when things evolve, we could separate those, but it's not necessary to separate them now.
Yeah, I think the other thing is, Andy is working on adding Webhook for the API, right? So that's going to be another component that's going to be in this repo.
That's fine. Webhook is not, it's optional thing, right? So it's not really.
And
why wouldn't that be bundled with the snapshot controller?
No, that's
so you would have to deploy it along with the snapshot controller and the CRDs.
But why wouldn't it be a monolithic binary or monolithic?
That is for the API validation, right, Michelle? It's not really, should not be dependent on the controller, right? That's basically, it's the validated API, right?
Yeah.
So that might be, we can package that together with APIs, I guess?
Yes, I think that would be good to package it with the APIs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just saying there might be more components coming.
Yeah, but I'm really against just making so many repositories. That's kind of confusing. So I think we are sidetracked. Was
I think
saying that whether we can get this one out early or not. So as long as we get this out before the August GA time, that should be okay, right, Yang? I mean, I guess that's the main question.
Well, for me personally, it's pretty tight, but it should be okay. Like I can't ask for more.
Early. We can maybe like 2 weeks.
Release candidate would be nice. It'd be nice if there was a release candidate I can pass it through RQE and get some testing on that. But
okay, so right now there is a release candidate. You want to test this one? But of course, then I just cut a 2.2 RC1.
I can check that one.
You can try that one, yeah. So the only thing that I'm waiting is this move API and generate clients outside package. So that will be a big change if that makes in. Otherwise, if we don't wait for that, then that's it.
Yeah. So like the reasoning why I was saying that we could potentially try to separate things into Go modules, not necessarily separate repos, but separate Go modules, is you can actually release things per Go module. So we could have the ability to release, if we put the controller in its own Go module, we have the ability to release just the controller part.
Right, but I think that for Young also needs CRDs. So I mean, it's not really. We're not really making any changes in the CRDs anymore.
Just to give you a heads up, if you put everything, different modules in the same repository, Go modules make it really hard to actually release them and refer them. So it's we face this
They're
issue.
not in the same directory.
Not directory, same Git repository.
Same repo, but I think that's what the CSI proxy did. I guess that's the model we're following.
If they're all in the same repo, they're going to be based off the same tags. So it doesn't make sense to release one thing without releasing the rest of it because the tag applies to the whole repo.
Yeah, it's very tricky actually to release them separately if they're in the same Git repo.
I think the example that I've seen for Go modules is to have different tag prefixes. So you have multiple different tags with different version numbers in the same repo, and one refers to one Go module and another set of tags refers to the other Go module. And I agree that is a bit confusing.
At that point, you may as well have two repos, I think.
Well, the combined,
it's not going to scale.
The combined repo still has the advantage that you can have one CI system for all of these components, and you can make changes that potentially break different modules at the same time. That's the advantage.
That can scale to 2 or 3, but it's not going to scale to 10 or 20. So it's like, I don't know, kind of weak.
And also, like, the tagging thing is actually like it's a hack. You have to tag it with the path that I think that the people who will use will import, right? Like, how will it look?
I don't remember the details, but it was in the Go mod FAQ on versioning somewhere.
I tried to do this with the CSI spec, like the CSI repo itself, and it was quite a bit challenging to actually export from this thing. So yeah, right.
Well, I think the controller probably will always go with the CRDs anyway. Sidecar does not, but sidecar is really a small piece. So I mean, just.
Okay, well,
in general, like, sorry.
I will use, sorry, Hemant.
No, I'm just saying that in general, I think like COPS or any other distribution, not just OpenShift, but any other distribution which wants to package the sidecar will have to either package the point-in-time cut, whatever is available right now, or they will have to ship. What are we expecting? What is the guideline? If we cannot release the same day as Kubernetes, that's, I think we should be thinking about, like, if we cannot release it on the same day, then any distribution will have to ensure that they update it when we ship a newer version.
Yeah, so I mean, the same is kind of true with the sidecars too, right? If you bundle CSI drivers in, then you would want to update the sidecars at the time that the new Kubernetes version is out too.
The sidecars are part of the drivers, not of Kubernetes distro. So they can be released in different pace.
I mean, assuming like your Kubernetes distro can bundle drivers in too.
Yeah, it does actually. You and me, well, everybody does it, but technically they can be updated at different pace. Still, Kubernetes distro is a different thing, right? The controller and
so like
Kubernetes is tightly coupled.
Like I can understand if it's like an API dependency, but in the snapshotter case, there's no API dependency, right?
Yes, that's correct.
But
so like you could update the snapshot controller independently.
But what if there was a snapshot controller also has, sorry, the CRDs changed, like the CRD changed, and
So like that makes sense, but then like couldn't you argue the same thing for a sidecar? Like if we add a
Sidecars don't
new
have
field
API.
to PVC or PB and the sidecar depends on it?
My argument is when Kubernetes vendors release 119 or something based on 119, that all the Kubernetes distribution use the same controller, snapshot controller. So if Kubernetes says it's 119, I can count these features are there, these bugs are fixed. And if every vendor's packages different snapshot controller, then it gets messy.
Yes, I agree. And there's no easy way to enforce that because the snapshot controller is not actually part of Kubernetes, right?
Yeah, so how do you know, how do you say that this is a 1.19 release of external snapshot is
Wait. It uses Kubernetes API. So is it part of Kubernetes?
It does, but it uses 1.18 right now, right? So, I mean, how do you say this one has to be?
Well, it's the client go. It doesn't matter. The API exposed is important, and it is volume snapshot dot snapshots dot storage Kubernetes.io, and that makes it part of Kubernetes.
Yeah, so this is the email I sent out to SIG architecture to ask them for guidance on how we can get Kubernetes distributions to all agree on like the same versions and CRDs to package. And so far, the answer we got was, that's a tough problem. Agree.
Shouldn't be that tough. You just release those controller together with Kubernetes, but maybe not together, but at least the same week, for example.
Like even if we release it together, like that doesn't mean distributions will be forced to package it the same time.
Of course, but at least we tried. We made everything.
I mean, the thing is, even if you just, and also it's not even obvious, like for them, oh, this is the one that you need to package, right? If you look at our release notes, talking about like a minimum version or things like that. So it's it's not even obvious saying, okay, you must.
So like this, at least this, you know, I see things as like the API version, not necessarily the controller version. So like, you know, the beta APIs are available in 1.17. Is that right?
1.17, yes.
So, you know, I plan to upgrade our 1.17 version of the snapshot controller to whatever the latest release is going to be because it's still compatible with the 1.17 API. Like, it's just bug fixing, which is good to, I think, backport and make older releases more stable.
There is a question, what is a bug fix then? Like with all the finalizer changes and deleting snapshots in this state and that state. Okay, you can treat them as bug fix. So then we have just one controller, that's 1.17, and we will go with that until we release V1 and deprecate the beta. That sounds strange.
No, we keep adding new features, right? So it's actually not really just.
Well,
yeah.
So I had this conversation with Jordan too about API versioning, and he basically said that we should not do the thing that we do in Kubernetes, which is we just keep on adding new fields to existing objects, but keep the same group version. Because with CRDs, since it's outside, then it's hard to tell exactly which version of the API you're doing when you're adding new fields. Like, at least for in-tree Kubernetes, we could say, oh, we're using the 118 version of storage v1, or we're using the 119 version of storage v1. But with CRDs, we can't really do the same. So what Jordan recommended was any change we make to the CRD, if we're adding a new field, even though it's backwards compatible, we should bump up the group version.
Oops. Are we really going to do that?
Are you talking about like beta 1 v1, that version?
Like v1, so like right now we have v1 beta 1. If we add a new field, then we would bump it to v1 beta 2.
We will end up with a lot of
Yeah, that
groups
will be a
to
lot.
maintain.
You will, but there's no like, without being able to really tie it to a Kubernetes version, how do you know which version of the CRD you're using? Like,
Oh,
I have
maybe
two
we should-
versions of the v1 beta 1, and one has a new field and one doesn't.
So maybe we should tie them to Kubernetes version and release them together.
I think, like, realistically, then that means we have to move the APIs back into Kubernetes, right? I think just
I'm not against.
documentation isn't like great in terms of actually enforcing that.
Well, I'm not against moving it back to Kubernetes.
Oh, SIG architecture won't agree.
Yeah, well,
Not
I
us.
know.
We already
I
lost
know the
that battle.
consequences, but
Like, if you want, like, can you just reply to that email I sent out to SIG architecture a long time ago? Because
okay,
like
okay,
this is the problem, right? Like we're considered core. It's like a core Kubernetes feature, but we're developing it outside of core. And so we have to deal with these out of core versioning problems. And like the problem is only going to get worse with, you know, everything being developed as CRDs and out of tree controllers.
Okay, I will reply to that. I'm not sure it helps. Okay, we can talk about it later. We have still a lot of time until 119, and there is a release candidate, so I can play with that.
All right, awesome. Okay. Anything else on snapshots?
No, that's it. Oh, and also I need a doc review from you for the vSphere CSI doc.
Okay, sure. I'll take a look.
Sorry, one quick thing, snapshot. Using the offline, that thing that we were talking on Slack, like, so you cannot delete pending snapshots, or like the one that I created.
Yeah, because we just fixed that, right? This is to avoid like leaking resources, right? So I'll take I'll give that one a try and see. I think it's partly because of that, because we need to wait until there's a response. It's either marked as really failed or times out or something. I mean, otherwise we don't delete if it's still ongoing. Let me give that a try and see. Which build are you testing? Is this the latest?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it a try. Because I think that thing you're talking about, I think that was like I even documented that in the CSF docs, but I want to see how to fix that.
Okay. The other thing was, it looks okay. We can talk about this.
Yeah, let me try that and see.
Cool.
All right. Okay, and then we have volume expansion.
Okay, so volume expansion. We missed the feature freeze, or Tim Hawken did not review it or just did not comment anything. So he's still considering it about the volume expansion to be canceled. That one I got David Eats to review, and there's some question about whether the allocated resources should belong to status or spec. originally I have tried to justify why it was put in status. Sorry, it was put in spec, and I spoke with Jordan at KubeCon, and we kind of agreed to that. And but like it's fair, we can move it to status as well. But I think, yeah, I haven't heard back from any of API reviewers on that one. But as says the PR works. And I fixed one long-standing issue that Ben reported, read-write many volume types that Saad had some concern um, about the interface that we are making change to interface in that is shared between attached controller and the volume manager. We are adding a new function, so we have to add in two places because the interface is shared. And so he was saying that okay, it should be probably a new interface. It requires like a shotgun surgery of the entire operation generator code, so it becomes bigger than it needs to be. And then I open another PR actually for kubelet not retrying expansion if the volume, if the driver throws volume in use error. That one should be merged as a bug fix, I think. I pinged Saad, it has lots of tests. I've tested it manually, so it should be good. And then, yeah, so I have like 4 PRs in progress. Then I'm working on a PR to fix the issue that Zing reported, which is you can delete the PVC while it's being expanded. I'm not sure if we need to get it done, get it in for 119. I think that's fine. We can target it for 120 if so, but I should be able to open a PR for that one today or something. Yeah. So we missed, but the major thing that we missed was like the volume expansion recovery we couldn't get in. Now, if we do it in 120, like whichever shape it goes in, the main motivation again for me to get that change in is I was looking at the stateful set expansion cap and the way they are trying to sort out like, okay, what happens if you expand the stateful set expansion fails and you want to, sorry, yeah, you want to keep a stateful set going, not get blocked. So you have to have a way of doing that. And yeah, basically I'm waiting for feedback from Tim or Jordan on that one. But can we, like as maybe we can have this discussion in another setting, but I was thinking that can we move, we have fixed quite a lot of issues. If the Saad merges the kubelet news, we have fixed a lot of issues in this one. So can we move expansion GA without that one? And we can, because that moving through alpha beta GA, the recovery extension PR will take 123, right, at minimum. That's like yeah, 1 year.
Yeah, I think definitely something that we can discuss to see how critical this functionality is.
Yeah, so this quarter my goal is to like review the stateful set cap and fit this one also into the workflow of stateful set, the recovery from expansion, and solve, because there's open questions that I need to answer in the stateful set. And yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for the update. And then the last thing we were tracking was the CSI driver changes.
So that is, it was rebased on Friday. The documentation has been updated. That should be good for them to review. The cap has also been updated. I'm just waiting for it to finish the test so it can get merged. It is still pending, but it was LGTM'd earlier today. So once it passes the test, it should get merged in.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I think that's, let's see, going back to our agenda, I think peers that need attention, these are the docs things. Any other topics? All right, then we'll end for today.
Sorry.
Oh, yep.
As I think, did you had a chance to review your driver for with the new offline volume in use change in external resizer, or and the sanity test that verifies the volume node expand is always called after node publish?
Well, yeah, not yet because we have a QE team who's supposed to set up the sanity test, but they haven't started that. I need to pin them again.
Okay.
I think I might have done this manually before, but I just would like somebody else to verify this. Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to pin them.
And also like we need to add something in release note that we are going to deprecate the support for node expand volume in between node stage and node publish. Michelle, it should go as without a code change in the release note. I'm just trying to think how it will go in the 119 release note. I have added it as a comment in the PR that you approved and got merged, but we need to surface it somewhere to the release note, I think.
Okay, sounds good. I think generally there's like there's supposed to be some time period before release where they have a draft of the release notes, so we can make sure to review the wording there.
Okay.
All right, any other topics? All right, then we'll end for today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.